Okay, so until yesterday, we covered how to scan modules, how to create test cases, and we ran one test case from scratch blueprint. So this is what we discussed until yesterday. So today, before we go for the multi-user environment, there is something which needs to be discussed from here only. I'll show you that. Okay. So the same test case, whatever I have created yesterday, I'm just copying it and pasting it here. There is some difference, okay? So if you observe here in the precondition, I have opened demo webshop, let it be there. In the workflow, I have click on register. So what I do now is, instead of saying click, I'll pass the value as X. What is the difference between X and click? Let's see that. Now, let me run only this test step. See, when I passed X also, still it clicked on register. Am I correct? There is a reason it opened the particular web page with all the details. What is the difference X and click means? When you say click, you can see the mouse going over there and then performing the click. But when you say X, the mouse will be in the same position wherever it is. It will not move. But still, it will click on it from the back end onwards. Okay, I'll show you once again. I'll say click now this time. Okay, I'm saying go and click on register. See, now my pointer went to register and it clicked on it. Right. Now I'll say X for the same thing. See, my pointer is in that position only. It did not move at all. See, the same way. But still, it clicked on register. So this is the difference between X and click. When do we use X? When do we use click? Actually, Tricentis prefers use of X rather than click. Okay, it is always recommended to use X. Okay. Second thing, X is mainly used to click the control which are in the bottom of the web page or somewhere. Like I can see only these controls here, right? Sometimes these there might be some other controls which are in the which might be very long web page, and there might be some controls which are at the end. So for those controls and all, usually we use X in order to click them because they are at the end, right? Sometimes we cannot steer them, like we cannot scroll to the down. So if you are saying X over there, immediately it will click on them from the back end and proper action will be triggered. Okay. So this is the difference between X and click. Any questions on this? You can use capital X, small x, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Okay. And similarly, now here, if for the radio button also, we have click. So can I use X here for the radio button? Anybody?
No,
Why no? Why yes? It's click only, right? But
but the function is radio function. Right?
yeah, actually for the radio buttons or for checkboxes, though you say like click only might be the function input that you are providing, but still you can't use X. Even for the ones inside the table, like if you have some button inside the table and if you want to click on it, you cannot use X over there. Okay, for the tables, radio buttons, checkboxes, all this you have to use click only. Only if you have an OK button or submit button sort of a thing, Okay, then you can use X instead of click. Always remember that. Okay, and now here, when we are filling the values, okay, let's say I'm filling the value as Oreo. There are two ways to input the values. What is the other way is by using send keys. See, whenever we are having any functions, okay, first suppose if I want to use any function that is developed by Tosca, okay, either like Tosca already has so many internal functions which are developed. For suppose an example is send keys, or else if you want some random number to be generated, or if you want some random text to be generated, or if you want to know what is the date. Okay, if you want to input the date value in some field, or else if you want to perform some mathematical operation, whatever it is, okay, you have input functions for all of these. The syntax to call these input functions is just to give a curly brace. See, all the input functions came up here in this list. And if you go through one by one, see, like by pressing on the down arrow, if you go down for one, it is showing one. Today, we will talk about most of the important input functions, but today let us see the very important one, that is send keys. Okay, so 1 second. I'll just say flower braces, yes, E. Okay, so see, I got this. The expression send keys. What is it written over here? It allows you to specify combination of keyboard commands or to send keyboard commands to the controls if the technology does not support the direct input. What happens here is usually there are two types of input. Okay, one is directly inputting something from Tosca, and another one way is to send keyboard strokes through Tosca. What is this sentence keyboard strokes to Tosca and all? I'll show you that example first. Okay, let us take Amazon website, and here we have a search bar, right? And see, now I will type dog. Okay, when I started typing dog, see, I got so many results here, right? Or else, let's say laptop. See, I got so many results here. Okay, accordingly. Now, let us scan this and try to input something from Tosca perspective. Shift, right click, scan HTML. Select the application, say select on screen, and this is the one that I want. So I will just scan that single one. Select on screen once again to disable it. And for it, it has some ID and it has some tag and all. That's okay. Save finish screen closes. Okay, now we are done with scanning that particular text box, right? So drag this module and place it on a dummy text case that you have. Okay, and here I will input the value laptop. Okay, and I will run this. See, did it get any results? No, right? Okay, actually when I scrolled, usually then this started populating. Okay, by default there are no results being displayed. This is because the JavaScript function they wrote for this particular table, particular text box is not being triggered. Okay, means it is looking for the commands like keyboard strokes. That means whenever a user inputs, like he will type, right? So L A P something. So these are nothing but the keyboard strokes. They will type something from the keyboard. So when they are typing, these will invoke some JavaScript functions and all. So now it did not invoke the results when we directly insert the value. So that is the reason we have another way. Like instead of directly inserting value, we will send the similar keyboard strokes. That is by using send keys function. So for that the syntax is flower braces and select this send keys and then give square braces and then just to say laptop. Close both the braces. That's all. Okay. I'll show you here. See, this is the syntax. Flower braces and send keys. Okay. And square braces and the word and close all the braces. Now let's run this and see. See, this time actually it invoked it. Am I correct? Did you see the difference?
Yes.
Yes, no.
Yes.
So that is like you have to know, like whenever you have some use with Senki, please use Senki. Whenever you have some use with like if normal input is enough, then you can use the normal input only. Like if there is some dynamic drop down or something that needs to be come out and all because of the value that you insert, so then please use Senki. Okay. So here I will just use it, but I know there is no use in writing it here. But still, I am writing here because you should remember that we studied about this function. Okay. So same case of Oreo. Okay. So this is how I do. I just wrote it, but it doesn't make any difference, right? Normal Oreo and inserting Oreo through sentences in both the ways it is the same. Okay. And the next one. Now what are we doing? We are actually doing the new user registration. Am I correct? So for the new user registration, what is that system will always look for? A new email ID every time. Am I correct? Hello?
Yes. Yes.
So, but now what did we do here? We hard coded the email ID. Is this going to be new every time? No, we just gave a fixed value here, right? So instead of this fixed value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, I can use some random numbers or some other function. Am I correct? So this particular email ID will become unique every time. So now when I am saying random numbers, what is this random numbers mean? For suppose if I want a random number of 4 digits, okay, so it can be anything, okay, it can be 100, yeah, this is a 4 digit, okay, similarly until this, it can generate any value between this, okay, when I say a random number of 4 digits. Similarly, I can ask for a random number of 2 digits and all. So what is the function for this random numbers and all is, see I'm saying Ramya dot Oreo dot and here give a curly braces again. I said you right, whatever function, same syntax, curly braces it starts. And then we want random numbers, right? So type R, okay? And see, you got R alt click random rejects random text. See, random text means it will create a random text with these many characters. R control and all. And go down, down, down. And at the end, by using RND. Okay, see, RND. It is nothing but it creates a random number with a set number of digits. This is the syntax is also given here. Flower braces R and D of 7. This example creates a random 7-digit number, and the maximum number of digits that can be generated are 80. Okay, and these define the if you want to define any upper limit and lower limit for the random numbers, okay, instead of number of digits, even that you can do by specifying it in the two square braces in this way, like minus 789 to 123. So this will generate a random number in this range. So this is the function of a random number. So let's use it and see. So when we can say that capital R and D of 5 digits is what let's give. Okay. And what I will do is I'll remove this click on register. I'll ask you to fill the details. That's all. Now let's see. Right click and run it. See, it gave me a random number. Am I correct? 61320 is the number that it gave. Let's run it once again. Did you see that? Now, when I run it once again it will create another random number. See, this time it created 66497. If I run for one more time, it will create another random numbers. Like it goes on. Okay, every time you run, every time you get a new random number. Okay, so that is how this random number works. Any questions, any doubts till this point?
How can we do for OTP based things?
Sorry?
How can we use this random based function for OTP based field?
OTP based. For OTPs and all, you cannot use this, right? OTPs are not some random numbers. OTPs are something which you will get for authentication. I don't think you can insert any random number in your OTP field. It won't accept, right?
Okay, but whenever doing in the testing environment, so they will disable the OTP function. We can add a dummy number. So that case, can we use
Okay,
this
yeah,
random function?
yeah. Yes, obviously, you can use this. If you are going to get an OTP of 5 digits, then give RND of 5.
Okay.
So that's all.
Yeah. Okay.
Any questions, any doubts till this point? Oh, so now let's move on to the next one. So now when I'm saying for the email ID, generate a random number and append it at the end. Okay. But what if my random number repeats? Sometimes it may happen, right? Every time I can't say that I will get a unique value because there are only limited number of random numbers from here to there. So there is a chance if I complete these many number of cycles, then obviously when the new cycle comes, the random number will repeat. So my registration test case may fail at that time. Am I correct? So here let's discuss another function, that is date and datetime function. There is a lot to discuss on date and datetime, but now we will just see the basic things there. Okay. So what is this date and datetime is? It will give you today's date like 2021 0202. Okay. And what is the time now? 07:21 and some 07:21 and some 34 seconds. So this is the number that it will generate when I ask it for the date time. So it will take today's date followed by the current time. And every time I think the date and the time, combination will be unique only. Am I correct? There is no chance of repeating that, right? So instead of random 5, I can use the date time function here. Okay, that is, you just give flower braces and say date. See, I got it. Date will result in full current date, but date time will give me the result, like current time stamp and 2021 0202 07 something thereon. Okay, for an example here, hours, minutes, and seconds. Okay, so date time and just close this. That's all, nothing to write. So this will give us a function. Let's run and see. See, 2021 0202 07 22 minutes 36 seconds. So every time this would be a unique value, right? So here I am using this. So depending upon your test case that you are executing, if you want some random number, please use random number. If you want some unique value, go for date time. Obviously, it will give you an unique value. Okay. So that is how you have to decide. Any questions, any doubts till this point?
Can't we get the unique value in the random?
No. I can't say that it won't be unique. Sometimes it might be unique. Sometimes it might not be. It may repeat.
Okay.
We don't know which value it is picking up, right? It is thrown randomly. Any other questions? Any doubts? Okay. So now we completed till here. That's good. Now we know for the email ID, I'm getting date time, that is the particular date and the time at that moment, and the seconds also included. So now when I'm saying go and register on it, okay. So can I say like what is the email ID that I'm getting? Can I store it somewhere? I don't know what is the email ID that I'm getting. Right. Now I'm saying daytime, but can I say like it will be only this value and all? I can't. At runtime, whatever the date and the time at that particular time moment, that is what it is going to capture in the email field. And I don't know what is my email ID. So I cannot log in again. Right. So now I want to store this email ID, whatever I am passing from this field. So how can I do that? Here I wrote a function to input. At the same time, I want to store this value also, whatever it is passing. So how can I store it? Okay. Before we discuss about storing this value into something, let's discuss a bit about the buffers. Okay. In Tosca, we have a concept called buffers. Buffer is nothing but a variable where you can store something. Okay. In other programming languages and all you may have seen, right? Like you have a variable called A and it holds the value of 20. You have a variable called B and it holds the value of 10. In the same way, in Tosca, instead of variables and all, we call them as buffers. We will have buffers and they hold some values. And unlike other programming languages and all, usually they will look at the data types and all this, right? Here, we are not bothered about the data types and whatever the data is. Some buffers might be empty, some buffers might contain special characters, some buffers may contain text, some buffers may contain numbers, whatever be it is, like you can mix everything, whatever you want, and you can just store them in a buffer. That storing into some variable is the main concept over there, nothing else. Okay, and coming to the buffers, what are the different kinds of buffers we have? We have normal buffers, okay. We have partial buffers. we have dynamic buffers. We also call these as X buffers. Okay, so basically we have three types of buffer. The normal ones, partial buffers, and the third one is the dynamic or the X buffer. What is this normal buffer? What is this partial and what is this dynamic means? But the normal one is the standard buffers, the normal variables and storing and all this. Partial is something, for suppose if I have a value in one of my buffer, I'm storing this particular sentence. Oreo is a good girl. Okay, but now I want only some part of this, like I want only Oreo. So that is nothing but I'm splitting this buffer, right? I'm taking only this value from here and storing it into another buffer. Okay, so let's say this is in some a buffer called A. So I'm taking only the name, that is Oreo, and I will store it in another buffer called B. So this B is the partial buffer because it has taken the partial value of this. Okay. And similarly, at the end, we have dynamic buffers. Means, for suppose, if you go for this LIC policies and all, your LIC policy ID is something which will be generated dynamically. Or else, if you are shopping something in the online website and all, you are shopping your order ID or something will be generated dynamically. So, for those dynamic values, we use the concept of dynamic buffers in order to store the dynamic values that are generated. Okay. So we will discuss more on partial buffers and dynamic buffers in the later classes. For now, I just gave a high level overview. Okay. Don't worry, we have some different topics from these. Today, let us see this normal buffers. Okay. Any questions? Any doubts still here? Okay. Now let's see the normal buffer. Give me one moment. Okay, thank you. So now coming to the normal buffers and all. Okay. First let us see how do we create buffer, how do we view the buffers that we have created, how do we delete the buffers, and how do we access the buffers. These are the 4 points that we need to know. The first thing is how do we create buffers. We are talking about the normal buffers only. Okay. For creation of buffers, you have two ways. One is by using standard module and another one is by using action mode buffer. Okay. Similarly, when I am talking about viewing of buffers, we can view them through tools, buffer viewer, and settings, engine and all, and or else, yeah, these are the two things basically. And coming to the deletion of buffers, you have a standard module for this, or else you can delete them from tools buffer viewer, or else you can delete them from settings as well. Similarly, the last one is how do we access them? The syntax for accessing buffers is this. Just one B. Flower braces, capital B, square braces, and the particular buffer name, followed by closing braces of square and curly. Okay. Now let's see what are these things. What did I write here? So first, creation of buffers. What are these buffers? How do we create them? The first way to create buffers is by using standard module. Okay, I'll right click and create a folder buffers. Okay, and in this folder I'll create one dummy test case buffer. And I'm just working on it. So work state should be in work. So now I said you using standard modules, right? So whenever we want to add some standard modules to our test case, what is that we will do? Either we can drag and drop them, or else we will click on this search and add test step. Yesterday we saw this, right? And here just to type buffer, nothing else. Okay, and see you got all the standard modules related to the buffer. Pick up the first one, that is tbox set buffer. This is the standard module which will help you to create buffer. Okay, now let's create a buffer. Okay, the first buffer name is test1, I call it. And in this test1, what is the value that I want? I want a value like Oreo is a good girl, something like this. So paste this value. Okay, and when you run this, and once you run this, immediately your buffer will be created. See, right click and run, and it is done. And in the Scratchbook results, you can see that it has been executed successfully, and it says buffer with the name test1 has been set to the value Oreo is a good girl. Okay, this is one way of creation of buffer. Let's talk about action mode also. But before that, let's see how can we see the buffers that are present in my computer. For that, one way is go to tools, and here you have an option buffer viewer. If you click on it, see all these are the different buffers that I have. See our test1 Oreo is a good girl. So this is the buffer that we are talking about now. See, this is one way to see the buffers that we have created. What is the other way to view them? The other way to view them is through settings. One is through tools buffer viewer, we did that. Other way is through settings. Okay, so go to your project and click on settings here. And here we have a folder that is engine. See, if you click on this engine, immediately you can see buffer and see all the buffers. See our test1 buffer also. Oreo is a good girl. This is one way of creation of buffers and the two ways of viewing the buffers. Any questions? Any doubts from here until this point? Okay, I'm moving ahead. So now for the deletion of buffer. See, sometimes you may specifically delete only one value. For suppose I have something called price here. I'll right click and delete only this one. Okay. Yes. So see that particular value has been deleted. This is for single buffer. I can delete it from the settings. Or else I can delete all of these buffers also. Click on this buffer, right click here and see delete all collection entries. Shift delete. Okay. So if you press on that button, it will delete all the buffers that are present right now. Okay. So these are the two things. One is by selecting the buffer and pressing on delete keyboard, or else right click and select the delete button there, that is for specified buffer. Or else if you don't give like if you go to the buffer root folder here, that is buffer, and then right click and just to say delete all collection entries, that will delete all the buffers. Okay, and from Tools perspective also in the same way from the buffer wear that we have seen here. Okay. Okay. Now you can see this, right? Here also you can do that. You can just select the particular buffer that you want to delete and say delete. Even this one will delete. Or else you can delete multiple buffers, or you can delete all buffers also by selecting everything and pressing the delete button on your keyboard. Okay. And there is another way to delete buffers also from standard module perspective. So for that, again, the same way, go to test cases, click on this plus icon. What is the shortcut? Control and T button. Say buffer. See, you have a standard module called tbox delete buffer. So you can use this standard module also. Like here, you can specify the name. For suppose, I want to delete the buffer with the name num. So just to say num. 1 second. Okay, and right click and run this. And now let's open tools, buffer viewer, and see, do we have that num buffer? No, right. This is also one way of deleting. And here, if you don't specify any value, okay, if you just dragged and dropped it and you did not specify any value, and if you run this, it will delete all the buffers that are present. I'll show you. See now, everything is deleted. Okay, that is tbox delete buffer. So now we saw how to create buffers through standard module, how to view the buffers in these two ways, and how to delete our buffers in these three ways. Any questions, any doubts till this point? Okay. Now let's see how do we create buffers using the action mode buffer. Okay. In order to use the action mode buffer, there's nothing like for suppose hmm, drag this module and drop it here. For suppose I have some value in the first name, okay, and I want to buffer that value. All that I do is in the first name, in the value option, mention the buffer name, or else select the action mode as buffer, okay, and here mention the name of the buffer that you want to be created, okay. So I want the buffer name should be first name. So let's run this and see. See, already it has a value Oreo. So it will store this particular value into the buffer first name. See, buffer with the name first name has been set to value Oreo. Okay, this is the other way of creating buffers. Any questions, any doubts till this point? So did you understand how do we create buffers? How do we access, how do we view the buffers and how do we delete the buffers? We did not still talk about accessing the buffers. Leave it. Yes, no, am I audible? Hello? Okay, good. So with this, I will stop here for this topic. Okay, for this topic alone, I have something else to discuss with you guys. Okay, so please practice until this point. Okay, until this creation of buffers and all. Understand the topics. Okay, so tomorrow we will take up the new topic, that is cardinality and all. See, I can just complete it, but I think it will be too much for you guys to take up. Okay, so now let's see another thing. Okay, this is an activity that you all have to do. Yesterday, I asked all of you to install SQL Server, and I did not receive much calls from your side. So I think everyone has completed the installation successfully. Okay, so now your installation is done, right? So please open SQL Server 2014 Management Studio. Once the installation is done, please do this. Okay, and in the server name, as I already told you, give a small dot and say connect. So it will connect you to the SQL server. Here you have databases, you have security, and this is the root folder, that is server root folder. Right click on this server root folder, go to properties, and here you will have a security option, and here ensure you are having both these selected. See, I have Windows only selected. I should select SQL Server and Windows Authentication. This one, okay? And just to say okay. It says some of your configuration changes will not affect until your SQL Server is restarted. Say okay. And now right click on your root folder once again. And here there is an option restart. Click on it. Yes, just to say yes, it will ask you. Are you sure you want to restart? Say yes. See, it is saying attempting to start the following service on laptop so and so. That's all. Once that is gone, it is restarted successfully. Now, if you right click and look at the properties once again and click on security, this time you will have SQL Server and Windows Authentication. So, close this. So, this is the first step that we all have to do. Okay. And the next step that you all have to do is to create a database. So in this databases, expand this databases. You will have system databases, database snapshots and all. Okay, expand this system databases. Why did I get this? Okay, hold on. Actually, I connected to a wrong server. For me, it is different. Okay, for you, it is the same. Don't worry. So right click, properties, security. Yeah, perfect. This is, and yeah, if you expand your databases, usually you will see only one option, that is system databases, and some other also. Okay, so you have to right click on this databases option and say new database. And here for the database name, give some name to the database. Okay, whatever name that you want, you can just give that name. I'm giving the name as per my convenience. Okay, and this is the database name that I have, and I will just say okay. So here a database will be created for me. Now right click on your database and select the option new query, and go to your folders, go to your C drive and go to Tosca And I don't think this one. Let me see. Underscore project, Tosca commander. No, not this one. Okay. Go to your program files cross 86 in the C drive and here try Synthes folder and again Tosca test suite folder and again Tosca commander folder and again SQL folder, MS SQL server and here the first one is create tables MS SQL. Before we come over here, one more important thing is expand your database, expand your tables. See how many we have? System tables, file tables. That's all. Right. Now, from this folder, drag the first one. Create tables MS SQL. Hold this file button, drag it onto your SQL server query area, this area, and release it here. See, everything came up like that. And now just to say execute. Says query executed successfully. Now close your database, refresh it. Okay, this is the button for refresh. Refresh it and now expand it, expand the tables. See, I got so many new tables that are created under my database. Okay, so what are things that we did? We logged into our SQL server. We changed the properties of SQL server and we restarted it. After that, from the databases, we created one database. We went to Tosca and we bought a query file from there by opening the new query window against the database and we created number of tables in our database. Okay, this is the second step. And we have the third step also. Third step is go to this security. Okay, and now here you have login, server roles, and credentials, right? So expand this login. So click on this login, right click on it, and say new login. And here give some name. I gave some random name, okay, because I have so many names here, see. And choose the option SQL Server Authentication. And unmark this enforced password policy. This should not be checked. And here give some password. Either you can give some password or you need not give any password also. It's okay. Go to server roles, the second page. Select DB creator. Yeah, that's all here. And public. Next, third one is user mapping. Select the database that you want. Like I want batch 10 morning. It's a database I have created, right? So select it. Click on this map button. So your name should come up here. And here below that you have some roles. So select data reader, data writer, okay, and DB owner, okay. So all this public. And now go to status, the last one. Grant and enabled are already selected by default. Just ensure they are selected and say okay. Right now I am creating a login with blank password, right? So it is asking me, do you want to continue with blank password? I'll say yes. So a login will be created for me here. See, Ramya Tosca. Now we are done with the third step also. Now the final, whether all these things, whether we have done properly or not. Just to say disconnect here. The second option, there is a red color into mark. Okay. And say connect, the first one. And this time, instead of Windows authentication, choose SQL Server authentication and choose the name as whatever the login name that you have given. I gave Ramya Tosca. So I gave that particular password and say remember password and say connect. If you connect successfully, then you have done everything correctly. So this is what you have to do today. Please complete this one also. Like later, by tomorrow, hopefully, we will start the multi-user environment. Okay, these things you need not do in real time. Don't worry. Here, we are going to create the replica of the real time environment. Like we want some place where we can practice exactly what we do in real environment. Right. So that is the reason we are doing all these things. But in real time, you need not do anything like this. Okay. You say that you have experience, right? So that's the reason you have to do this. And you need to practice in that. So you can say that I have experience. Okay. Any questions, any doubts till this point? Okay, perfect. I hope everyone understood that. Please complete. If you did not complete SQL Server installation and all also, it's okay. Let's come. But please complete it by today. Tomorrow, you should not be in a trouble. That's the reason. Complete it by today EOD for sure. Okay. Thank you everyone. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.